Thank you very much, Mr. Provost, Mr. Chair, members of our boards, deans, our vice presidents, faculty, professional staff, guests. Good afternoon. I want to thank you all for being here. Today, we're here to celebrate the accomplishments of you, the faculty. This celebration represents what we do. We teach, we carry out research, we promote creative activity, and we use our research and creativity to address local and global needs. Mr. Hollander, I want to thank you and the work of the President's Council. I also want to thank the Convocation Committee for all that they've done. The Convocation itself, this actual event, was introduced to us by Professor Judith Steen when she was our provost. I know Judith is here someplace. Judith, would you please stand up and be recognized by your faculty colleagues? As many of you know, one of our own, Dr. Pedro Jose Greer, was just awarded the President's National Medal of Freedom for his pioneering work to help the homeless in our community. Here is a colleague who has taken the blessing of his knowledge and merged it with his passion for social justice. The founder of Camillus Health, of the Camillus House Health Concern for the homeless in Miami, Dr. Greer's approach to his vocation is very simple. Dr. Greer asks of us all, if we don't fight injustice, who will? Dr. Greer, please stand up and be recognized for this outstanding accomplishment. We are proud to call you a colleague. Now, each of us has the capacity to ask ourselves, if I don't do this, who will? That is why my message this afternoon is this. Remember, no matter what is going on around you in the world today, faculty, your work matters. The life of the mind matters. In these times, as we rise to meet the challenges of the 21st century, we can't take for granted our special role as guardians, as custodians of the life of the mind. Today, I stand before you as you. I am honored to be the first FIU faculty member to be named as president of your university. When I was hired in political science in 1976 here at FIU, I never would have imagined that I would have the privilege and the responsibility to be your president. As we near the Jewish New Year, we often speak of Lador Vador, from generation to generation. Truth is, I have been tempered by generations of colleagues from FIU. You, built this place from the ground up, literally. As Professor John Stack said the other day at the installation, one student at a time, one course at a time, one major at a time, one degree at a time. And as I was standing here, I was thinking about Bill Cortina's in the 1983 effort to get that psychology PhD. I distinctly remember that and was as proud as punch that we got that program through that Board of Regents. Although the FIU of yesterday is quite different from the FIU of today, there are some important continuities from then to today. We all want meaningful work and the ability to succeed professionally with dignity and respect. And our desire for meaningful work pivots around the life of the mind. Our third president, Dr. Gregory B. Wolfe, first used this concept here on this then Tamiami campus. Greg had the imagination to turn a phrase into a powerful art form that was both evocative and hopeful. And again, John Stack helped us out last week at the installation, quoting Aristotle, who stated that the energy of the mind is the essence of life. And then John continued that for us academicians by stating that the essence of life is the life of the mind. So today, let me spend a few moments on the life of the mind and then the next steps in this new era. And I'd like to speak for a moment from the perspective of a fellow faculty member. In his work on the convergence of human and machine cognition, Raymond Kurzweil suggests that the pace of change in the first 2 decades of this century will be greater than the pace of change in all of the last century. Well, if this is so, then it presents faculty with real challenges. How at once to manage the change process so that we can meet our obligations to our students, our obligations to fellow faculty, to our disciplines and to our professions, even as we grapple with the rising uncertainties, and they are aplenty, in this new era. Let me tell you what I'm doing about it. As a fellow faculty member, I'm studying as much as I can the literature on change, from Kurzweil to Clayton Christensen, who writes about disruptive innovation and its impact on education, to Daniel Pink, who argues in his book, A Whole New Mind, it's called, that we're progressing from a society of knowledge workers to a society of creators, empathizers, pattern recognizers, and meaning makers. And here I want to thank colleague and Professor Kathy Kerstetter for calling my attention to this work. So rapid change already affects the life of the mind, and we must understand how these changes will impact our ability to survive and thrive in this new environment. That's my perspective as a faculty colleague. Now, as your president, and I am mindful of the fact that you are listening to me today, not really as a faculty member, although I invite that, but as one in whom you've given your trust to lead our institution. The president is the ultimate institutional custodian of the life of the mind. And since I'm fundamentally in awe of education in general and higher education in particular, I accept this role with gratitude and enthusiasm. So let me be very clear. I intend to do the things that a president does to advance the institution, its faculty, its students, and the broader university community. I accept the fiduciary obligations of this institution to use my responsibility and the authority to make FIU better. I intend to be very purposeful and intentional in this quest. But I understand that it's got to be done with you. For I've always been proud to be associated with you, the faculty, and to be part of you, the faculty. We are building a great public research university that adds value locally and globally. And standing before you a few years ago, right here in this spot, Professor Stanley Fish declared that we were unstoppable. So what you do matters, has an impact. But the life of the mind is ever-changing and is not going to wait for us to sort things through. If we're to remain as the guardians of the life of the mind, we must stay at the top of our game, and this can only come if we have confidence and pride in each other. Now, for me, it's more than just professional pride in you and in our institution, because just like many of your children or grandchildren, our 2 children are your students. This is about as purposeful as Rosalie and I can be about your worth and your value. Let me talk about our accomplishments. In the multi-decade history of this institution, this faculty has accomplished so much. And truthfully, we know that you just want to teach your students, conduct your research, and carry out your creative activities, and work in the community, locally or globally, to help make it better. We know that to build a great institution, this is a necessary condition. But it is not a sufficient condition. As a faculty, your ability to come together and get things done is very impressive. We couldn't have moved as fast as we did or turned the impossible into the inevitable so many times unless we were committed to a larger institutional purpose and the cross-disciplinary collaboration to get there. And as the provost mentioned, I was in Tallahassee for a couple of years. But since I have returned, I've been inspired by story after story about how faculty are coming together to make a difference. So let me just mention a few, and there's others. Our College of Medicine and our Frost Art Museum developed a rendering of DNA that helped the non-specialist to understand what it was and how it looks. Colleagues in our School of Nursing and in our College of Engineering are working together to share resources in a common project that will enhance something as mundane and as important as driver safety. A whole new area of collaborative research has developed, and it could allow the Lehman Transportation Research Center to create a whole new a line of funded research for us. 16 faculty members from 6 colleges and schools representing 15 different departments participated in FIU's Global Learning Foundations, which was an intensive summer seminar. And as a result, we now have 6 new lower division courses that are going to be offered in the core curriculum as part of the Global Learning for Global Citizen Quality Enhancement Plan. Professor Mario de la Rosa led a multidisciplinary team initiative of colleagues from medicine, psychology, public health, and nursing to submit a proposal to the National Center for Minority Health Disparities. If funded, this initiative is going to be in the College of Medicine, even though Professor de la Rosa is in another academic unit. Stimulus package proposals for core facilities. Faculty from throughout the university have come together to submit a proposal to the National Institute of Health to expand our nano laboratory in engineering. Colleagues from political science, my colleagues, I'm in that department, have come together to form a new department, something that we couldn't get done. I couldn't get done for 30 years. It happened while I was in Tallahassee, go figure. But it's a welcome change because it ensures that we're not going to be duplicating as many courses as we have, and it ensures, frankly, a much better level of impact for our students. Colleagues at Biscayne Bay and across the university are creating a new School of Earth and Societies to focus our efforts in this critical area. Colleagues in Global and Social Cultural Studies, formerly Geography, Sociology, and Anthropology, are now cobbling together a 21st century curriculum. And colleagues in CARTA, which is our College of Arts and Architecture, I have been assured are doing some really interesting collaborations cross-disciplinary that are going to improve their students' ability to deal with real-world problems and opportunities. And I can cite dozens of other instances where you are coming together to build a better university. You can count on me to support this spirit of collegial enterprise in this next phase of our institutional evolution. What you do working together does matter. Now, what about expectations? Well, I have high expectations that you will continue to find newer and better ways to work with each other and to help each other, because I believe a rising tide lifts all ships. But here's what you can expect from me. You can expect me to listen, to make sure that I've heard what I think you meant, and not just what you said, to make sure that I've been understood in times when it's so easy to be misunderstood, to go the distance to find new ways to make the most of what we have in funds, in people, in resources, in buildings, and in our ability to help one another across departments, across campuses, across majors, because what we do together matters. In Hit the Ground Running, you have a concept paper that cries out for your examination, debate, and revision. As your president, I am proposing a new vision for our new era. This vision calls for a more student-centered university that pivots around learning, around research and creative activity, and uses these blessings to enhance engagement locally and globally. For us to move forward, we need a shared sense of urgency about the institution's financial security, and I've talked a lot about that, so I won't today, about its academic excellence, about enhanced research around strategic, institutional, community priorities, and around engagement to solve problems. We need a shared sense of urgency about building stronger win-win partnerships with key institutions in this community. They know who we are, they know what we can do, they want us to be involved with them. We're taking some modest steps, and I want to thank the provost and members of the position paper task force in response to hit the ground running. In our discussion tomorrow will be our first opportunity to address these issues as a community determined to continue the incredible momentum that we have had during these 4 decades. So I'm excited about working together with you to shape a plan for our new era. So I've talked a little bit about the life of the mind, about expectations, about plans. But I must tell you, and I understand that a plan that has strong faculty input and oversight, no matter how insightful and forward-looking it may be, is not a substitute for that which binds us together in this convocation of mind and spirit. As communities of memory and hope, we are committed to the life of the mind in our work. We're bound together in recognition of our shared commitment to ideas and our determination to think creatively, and in our belief that we make a difference. We make a difference in the lives of our students and the world that they inhabit. There's much to celebrate about our community, about our fine institution, as Chair Dotson calls it. And in the end, I expect you to have high expectations of me. I have high expectations of myself and of you. But let's work together to craft the future of the university we love, knowing that here in South Florida, our commitment to the life of the mind helps us to illuminate the ideas that will shape the future, reaching well beyond our classrooms. That is what we celebrate this afternoon in the achievements of our faculty awardees, in the recognition of the years of achievements of our colleagues who have preceded you on this stage. Congratulations to our awardees, and thank you all for the opportunity to be your president, for your trust, and most of all, for your commitment to FIU. Thank you.